Hey everybody, I'm Andy and welcome back to Tumblewood. We're getting really close on this Irish table. This is an exciting point because we're almost ready to start doing some assembly of all the components, and that's always exciting. But I thought I'd show you a couple of things that not entirely sure came through on the video. First of all, so here the tenons are cut. And if you were looking and really doing quick math on the tenons versus the legs, you would have realized that with a 1 inch tenon coming in this way and a 1 inch tenon coming in that way, there's not enough depth within the leg to accommodate that if they're square. Because the leg itself is only at an inch and, I can't even remember, 1 3/4. Something like that. So what do you do about it? Well, so the trick is that you bevel off the end of that tenon. So I still have a 1 inch length over here, but on this side I've created a bevel that will allow the other leg, the opposing tenon to come in and sit like that inside the leg, and that'll give it enough room and clearance. It's not really super important that this be perfect down inside there, because the strength of the joint is going to come from the glue surface here on this back side of the tenon, and then along the long face of the tenon. When that goes, it gets glued into the mortise. That's where the real strength comes from, and we're going to end up pegging them eventually anyway, so that they will never come out of there. So that's one thing that I thought I would point out to you. The other thing too is that I didn't show you this, but I did a kind of a really quick dry fit to kind of see which pieces I wanted to connect where, and it seems to work pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with the result, actually. So in order to keep all that organized, I now have 4 rails. Each of those has 2 ends, so that's 8. And then I got 4 legs. Each of those has 2 mortises, so that's another 8. So that's 16 different tabs and slots that I got to keep organized to make sure that I get it back together right. So I've lettered. Doesn't really matter here. This one you can see. I'll turn it up so you can see the right way. So I lettered all of the joints around the table base in clockwise fashion. I don't remember. So that here, with that being tenon F, with mortise F, I can take, and I know that that's going to line up. Tenon F will line up with mortise F, although it's upside down to your perspective right now. So that'll keep me organized. So now then, it's actually time to start thinking about how the top is going to fasten to this. And an old traditional way of doing this that Norm Abram did a lot on different projects of his, the worry with the top being what it is, which is several wide boards all joined together. No matter what you do to it, that top is going to expand and contract with temperature and humidity. Sitting inside someone's home, be exposed to air conditioning, or maybe they got the doors open, and then in the in the wintertime, they turn the heat on and it changes the humidity level again. And so, the top is going to move. It's wood. It's an organic substance. You've probably seen this in some furniture of your own, unless it's completely stabilized manufactured products. But if you've got an old blanket chest or a chair sitting around and you see that big crack opening up, it's because that wood contracted and expanded. Sometimes you can't stop that. Sometimes that happens, but you want to try to prevent it as best you can. And the way that you do that with the boards oriented like this, lengthwise, and they want to expand across the width, we want to try to create a system that can hold the top to the base and yet give it a little room to move and expand. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. So the way that we're going to do that, now this will be the top of a rail. This will be the face that you would see from the outside of the table. On the inside of the table, we're going to cut a 3/8 inch groove that comes all the way down through here. And we'll do that over on the table saw. And then we're going to manufacture, this is just a piece of scrap cut off maple from somewhere in this whole production process. I don't know where it is, but we're going to cut off about 8 1-inch blocks out of this, and we're going to manufacture some wooden clips that will go up underneath and they'll ride in that groove. And I'll show you how all that works. But first thing I got to do is get this milled to 1 inch square. Okay, there you go. 1 inch square, and now I'm gonna make them 1.5 inches long. So these are the clips I've got to manufacture. And I'm gonna try to make a total of 8 of them. So 8 1.5 inch long by 1 inch square blocks. They don't have to be perfectly precise because all they're doing is helping to hold the tabletop down. They just need to be strong, and they need to be able to take a hold of screw and hold it in place. So I'll show you the layout that I've got right here that I've got to do. I've marked it over on the end, and this is 3/8 thick right here. So I'll cut along that line. This will be the part that stays. And then marking out here, I want it to be 1/4 inch deep. And so this will take out, and this will be gone. We're gonna cut that little rectangle out right there. The other thing that I've got to do is from the underside of the table, once I have that clip cut, this will go up and sit up underneath the table. So I got to have a screw that comes through, and so I marked a landing point there. It's 5/8 of an inch up from the bottom, or back, 5/8 inch from up here, and then 1/2 inch in, which puts it pretty close to center. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's not really doing that much. Now, to make sure that my drill doesn't wander off when I cut this, I'm gonna go ahead and take this awl. And I'll put that awl right there where I need it, and a little tap. Doesn't have to be much. And that'll give me a starting point for my drill bit when I get over, and I'll do that on the drill press. And I'll show you what that looks like. But I'm gonna take this over and cut it out on the table saw, or sorry, not the table saw, I'll cut it out on the bandsaw first. When I'm working on something this small, to me, the bandsaw, hands down, is the fastest, safest way to do this. You don't wanna try to run something like that through your table saw or through a chop saw or something. That's too much. But way more controlled with the bandsaw. So yeah.